It's Happy Hour from Central City, New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. We're at Casa Borrega in Central City. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, yeah.
Welcome back from
It's good to
being
be back,
around the
yeah.
world. Casa Borrega is a bar, a restaurant, and a live music venue on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard at Felicity. Come and check them out. You can get some awesome food here, hear some great music, and have a great drink. What are we drinking here? Some sort of orange...
Deliciousness.
Some
Orange
rum,
goodness.
orange
We don't
goodness.
know, but it's good.
It's whatever it is.
And
it's
it's
good.
rum.
more.
It has rum.
Okay, in the next 60 minutes, you're going to meet these 5 people sitting around the table here with me. They all live in New Orleans, and also you'll get to hear some live music as well. At the end of the show, you might conclude New Orleans is a great city where people love to talk, have fun, and enjoy great music, but you probably know that already, so let's get right on with doing nothing. But enjoying the next 60 minutes of happy hour together, an extremely intimidating bunch of guests sitting around the table here, Andrew, for your special return from Europe are in this order. Lenny Elsfeld. Lenny moved to New Orleans in 1981 when you were just 1 year old, I suppose then, yeah. And for the past 30 years, he's founded, staffed, and operated a series of investment banking and brokerage firms, which sounds scary, doesn't it?
Yes.
Right there. Today, Lenny's the president and CEO of FBT Investments, but he's much more than just a banker. Listen to this. In 1982, Lenny founded Louisiana's first non-profit for terminally ill children, A Child's Wish, which is still running and has granted wishes to over 1,300 children.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it? That's kind of...
Very cool.
He's a nice banker.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
No such
A
thing.
man with a heart.
He's also the founder of the Crescent City Hockey League that plays inline and ice hockey. And in 2003, Lenny was appointed head coach of the USA Junior World Inline Hockey Team.
Wow.
From New Orleans.
Come on.
Very
And that's
cool.
just the stuff I
Blow
have
away.
time for on the intro. Wait till you hear the rest of it. Over here is Leah Saris. Hi, Leah.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great.
Good
How are
to
you?
see you. Leah is
You too.
first and foremost a chef. She's a graduate of the prestigious Johnson and Wales University and moved to New Orleans to become the program director of the brand new Goldring Center for Culinary Medicine.
Indeed.
Culinary medicine is a world first, a pioneering undertaking by Tulane University Medical School, which makes Leah the first ever chef to teach at medical school
Cool.
That's what we say.
in the
anyway.
entire globe. Is that not true? You're going to tell me that's bullshit now?
No. We
It's
believe
true.
we believe that to be true.
Did anyone research that?
We don't know of any other program that exists.
Okay,
like
so
ours,
we're going to go with that.
Yes.
That's pretty unbelievable that
Yes,
you're the
so
first
I would
ever
say
chef to
yes.
teach doctors. When you think
Yeah.
of the number of doctors who have graduated and are practicing, and not one single one of them has had any instruction in
So-
diet and nutrition.
They have had a little.
extraordinary.
There are some programs that are much smaller, but not to the extent that ours are.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty amazing. And I'm sure
Thank
you
you.
guys agree with me, right? The
Without a
Goldring
doubt.
Center for Culinary Medicine is part of the new development on Broad Street, where Whole Foods is moving into what used to be the old Schwegmans. Chef Leah is developing and teaching a curriculum for medical students as well as teaching continuing education for the healthcare and food service industry.
Indeed.
I mean, what do you do in your off time? Just drink?
I
copiously?
enjoy New Orleans.
How long
Same
have you
thing
been
I-
here?
Almost a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is summer number 2. You've already been here for one hurricane, assumedly.
Yeah, Isaac, which ironically is my brother's name, so he was my first hurricane.
There you go. I guess that makes some sense. Maybe you attracted that.
Yeah, he always picked on me growing up, so I'm not surprised.
Or maybe he was doing it again.
Thanks, Isaac.
And look who's across the table. I've seen you on television for so many years. I'm so pleased to be able to finally meet you. It's Darlene Costanza, who's the executive director and CEO of Crime Stoppers. Perhaps the most ambitious job in the
Thank you.
whole of New Orleans, being the person who's responsible for stopping crime.
Wow.
I don't know if I'd call it ambitious, but yes, busy.
Busy. This is a position that you've held, Darlene, for the last 18 years.
Well,
Darlene was awarded the United States Marshals Service Citizen of the Year award in 2008. The same year, she was named Community Leader of the Year by the Jefferson Chamber of Commerce, and in 2009, Darlene was named Role Model of the Year. I was hoping to get that, actually. I don't know how you beat me out on Role Model of the Year. Role Model of the Year by the Young Leadership Council.
Wow.
Darlene's a charter member and president of the Louisiana Crime Stoppers Association, a graduate from the FBI Citizens Academy, an executive board member of the New Orleans Crime Coalition, a fleur-de-lis ambassador, which I don't know what that is, and serves on numerous boards and community school-related committees as well. Wow, you're a busy person.
Thank you.
I'm not as fun as you are.
Well, we've
yeah,
we've only had
we
one
have-
drink.
we
so
Have
have
some more
fun
drink,
with
you'll
Yeah,
be
it.
there's plenty of time. What is a fleur-de-lis ambassador, by the way?
Actually, after Katrina, we had a group of people who went out and talked about the city and all the wonderful things that are here.
Ah.
And I was a crime-related fleur-de-lis ambassador.
Well, that's a funny job, isn't
Yeah.
it? We went out talking
Wow.
about how good our criminals. We are number one, after
We're
all.
very
for
good at
Christ's sake.
finding them.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you able to say that around the country?
Are
Hey,
we number one now?
if you like crime, come
I thought we
here.
were number 5.
No, I didn't say that. I talked about all the wonderful things that we're doing and the new things that we're doing to catch crime. catch criminals.
Well, we'll get onto that in a minute
No.
because, well, we have got a really great story about what we are doing, which is using music to catch criminals, which is interesting.
Absolutely.
Wait till you hear this one. Olga, come on. Olga's back, making her third appearance on Happy Hour. I think
I'm
you're the
back.
only person we've had on 3 times.
Really?
Nice.
That's a good number.
I think so. Isn't
yeah,
that right,
it's the
Andrew?
universal number.
Chefs like the number 3.
I've been
Yeah.
here one
Really?
other time with Olga, but
But
no,
not,
there's
but
no
not
other
4
3.
other times. No, I don't
No.
think anyone else has been on for
For
3
sure.
times. So congratulations, you're the winner.
Great.
That's
great.
pretty
I hope
exciting.
you feel that way after number 13.
Wow. Well, hope we're still alive when we've had you on 13 times. Olga's a blues musician and a member of the Blues Royal family. She's a member of the Memphis Blues Foundation. Olga's also a performer on screen. You may have seen her in Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained. Or you may be one of the 250,000 people who have watched Olga's YouTube video of her song, It Is What It Is. That's, I looked it up this time. It's almost 250,000 people.
Oh, that's
Wow.
It's
good.
unbelievable, isn't it? You'll also be able to see more of Olga on screen soon in her own movie, Anam Cara. Is that how you pronounce that?
Uh-huh.
Pretty good. I did it the
Yeah.
first time. Anam Cara, which will screen in film festivals and on a new Samsung Smart TV channel, Jazz and Blues TV, that's going to launch later on this year, but only if you make the movie happen yourself by investing in it on Indiegogo.
Or you just go to animcarafilm.com.
And can you
Yeah,
spell
we
that
wised
for
up
us?
because it was this ridiculous thing that XY/forward,
Oh, so you made a
Some
website
stupid-
for it.
Yeah,
And
so we
Anam
just
Cara
wanted-
is spelled ANAMCARA.
film.com.
Film.com. And that means what exactly?
It means soul friend is Celtic actually. And
Soul friend.
soul friend. And so the story is that it's basically the journey of hedonism, the fall from grace, and trying to find your true self and rising back up,
Who's the model for this?
Me, of course.
Really?
Yeah, it's my music. So the whole point of it is that it's a music film. It's not. There's no dialogue. So the dialogue is the music, and it also at the same time plays a Jiminy Cricket character, if you will, during the visuals.
Okay, now,
as you go through the
not a-
journey. So
It's from the point
it's
of view
it's
of
like a
Jiminy
Ben
Cricket.
Hur in 12 minutes, but with music.
Jiminy Cricket plays your soul.
The music.
Who plays
Music
the part?
is.
Who plays the part of your soul which you're trying to find?
The music is.
The music is the soul of the
music
movie.
is, yes.
And do you find yourself at the end of the movie and
I
when we
do.
know all about you?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's
And
kind of
did
turning
you-
into this big thing. There's even going to be an underwater sequence now and some stunts and
Hey, well, we'll get on
maybe
to
there's some
in a moment.
skydiving. I don't
I
know.
hope
Sounds like
so.
a party.
We've got to, before we go any further, welcome
bigger.
Andrew Duhon back to
Hey,
Happy
man.
Hour. Andrew's been gone for so long.
Been a
Andrew
long
is
time.
our
Good to
Happy
be
Hour
back.
troubadour, who this time, really, it's true, I say this every week, but you really do
I know, it's all
wander
bullshit
the country and the
other
world.
than this time.
This
This
is
is
the
the
first-
first time where you're not just blowing wayfaring smoke up my ass.
But you really are wandering around the world and
I
then
did this
wander
time.
back in here.
This
So
time,
tell
yeah.
us where you've been and what happened.
UK for about a month, and then Spain for a week or two, and then New York, and then Colorado, and then I came back.
Awesome.
And we've been watching you. I've been seeing some videos show up on Facebook during the course of your journey.
Yeah.
One beautiful song you're singing, playing on the British
Portsmouth,
coast,
yeah.
somewhere in Portsmouth.
Mhm.
That was beautiful.
That
and
was
like,
cool.
Looks like you're having such a great time. I don't know why. I was thinking,
That was
why
a
would you
lie.
ever come home? It was just all lies,
Yeah.
just for the camera.
No, it was great. It
Which
was really
Portsmouth?
Cool. Portsmouth, England.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, there's another one.
What's that?
Yeah,
there's
Rhode
Portsmouths
Island.
everywhere. Yeah,
Everything
there's
Portsmouth,
is
Rhode
Portsmouth.
Island.
Spend
Now
most
these
of my
two.
time.
Of course, that's
New
what I
England, you
immediately.
know?
I
It's
guess
just
England and
immediately
yeah,
thought
right. So you two, Lenny and Leah,
Yeah.
both sitting next to each other. Both. Everyone's wearing blue, by the way. Oh, darling, you're
Oh,
not
no.
wearing blue. Thank God you saved
Memos.
me on that.
Memos.
You're both
sent the
from.
memo, you
You're
didn't
both
get it?
from New England, Rhode Island. You're
We
both from
are.
Rhode Island.
I'm
I mean.
actually originally from Ohio, but I kind of adopted Rhode Island as my home.
I know you're adopting New Orleans as your home. Now you're just going to adopt
Yeah.
everywhere you go.
You know, but I lived there for 11 years. I think that was enough time that I could call it home.
Well, here you're not allowed to do that. Here you
I'm
can't
not-
call it
I'm
home
not at
unless you went to
11
high
years
school
yet.
here.
I'm not 11 years yet.
No, I don't think you'll be get away with it even after.
I
the-
don't know. I've talked to a lot of people from here that adopt people that aren't from here. Pretty
Yeah.
say
quickly.
after 7
Which
years.
I'm
you're
going to
from here.
do when it's over, because this Providence thing has to have a life of its own.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, I grew up just outside of Providence in Cranston.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a college in Providence College,
We both did. Not Providence College, but went to
and
college.
she
Providence.
was down. Her school was on Dorrance and Way Bossett. Mine was up on the west side of Providence. But I used to work as a young man right around the corner from where she went to school.
What did you do?
Well, I played hockey when I was at Providence, but I also
You're a professional hockey player.
The
didn't
P.
get to that-
Bruins?
No, I didn't go that far.
Aw.
But I played D1 on scholarship. Providence is a fairly well-known college hockey program.
Yeah.
And I
Did you
worked.
get hurt?
Well, I had broken wrist, disc 4 and 5 removed.
Removed?
And ACL, but it's a couple of teeth are not mine.
Oh man.
I have scars on my face, as you can tell.
No, you look fine.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they've now
Yeah,
turned
the
into
wrinkles have, taken their
I
place.
claim them as scars.
So yeah, they took two discs out of your back
Yeah, they took
in
discs.
your 20s?
No, actually, they did that in 2006 when I was still playing hockey.
Man.
Oh, you've been playing all the way through?
Yeah, I didn't grow up. You know, as long as you
Amen.
skate, you stay young forever.
Is that
Good for
right?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Joe Biederman, who runs Hilla Jewelers. He's 65. He still plays.
And how many discs and vertebrae has he had?
Well, he's about 6'10", so he's probably had most of them realigned
Oh
playing
my
the game.
god.
What's the pain factor like in that sort of
It's
thing?
fabulous. It's fabulous. You usually like to give it more than receive it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, in the operations, I mean, when you say people, it's easy to say that, oh, I had a couple of discs removed. That must be painful as all hell.
Well, they did an emergency surgery on a Sunday back in July in 2006.
Thank God for Obamacare, right?
Well, it was
was
a little
far
before that. Although, yeah, he would have been.
No, he was only elected in 2008.
Oh, okay, then that was Bush
Bush
care. Yeah, yeah,
Bush Justice.
yeah. It was after
Wait,
Katrina,
he
so I had to.
So what happened? You were playing hockey and you got whacked or something?
A young Canadian decided that he
Canadian.
didn't like my game at that point and cheap shotted me. But probably along the way, I deserved much of it.
Mm.
You know,
Ah,
my
that's
wife was
very-
upset. She wanted,
That's
you know, my
very-
wife's a lawyer. She thought this should be
So-
something, and I said, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You fight them, which we unfortunately did, and then you heal and you go back and play again.
Hockey
That's
fights are the
real.
best.
They're the best.
That's a real
Even,
sportsman.
so even in like beer league hockey, there would be fights.
When people disagree over a certain way the game's played, you have to resolve it in that manner.
It's amazing.
You don't
Yeah.
have to resolve it in that manner, really, but that's
You
what they
do,
do in
it's
hockey. You
hockey.
do.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
hockey.
But
yeah,
Code of
yeah.
conduct.
Because everybody's watching.
In the beer league, are there refs
why
to
we're
break it
there.
up, or do you just decide when to
Yeah,
break it
but
up?
they start drinking before the game, so
Right.
their calls are a little,
Yeah.
yeah. There was no call on the penalty that he put me into the boards on, so
Yeah.
I had to
So
help him
did
understand.
you have
it.
to play on?
Yeah,
Hurt?
of course.
You have
Oh,
to
yeah.
play hurt. And at the
Yeah.
end of the game, you can't leave the game because even if you're in excruciating pain, and
Oh,
then you
yeah.
find out you have to have 2 discs replaced. Dude, you're a real hero.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a real.
my sophomore year at Providence, a week before the season began, I got jammed in the boards and broke my right wrist. Well, I knew it was broken because when you sent messages, it just stayed floppy.
Oh wow, yeah.
So I went to the boards, I taped it up. I taped it on the stick so the coach would know. The coach at the time was Lou Lamorello. He's a Hockey Hall of Famer now. Not because of any game that I played to contribute. But I taped it on my wrist, but you know, you can't shoot the puck. And he thought my game had declined rather quickly in about 5 minutes, and so I lost half a season with that. Couldn't play with it.
Wow. So what job, I interrupted you before, you
Yeah.
were just going to tell me what job you were doing while you were playing hockey back in Providence.
I actually worked in a clothing store around the corner from her called Philip Wolf Haberdasher. So, and you might have walked by it many
Is it
times.
still there?
Corner of Dorrance and Boston, yes.
Oh.
And it was,
Philip Wolf Haberdasher.
yeah.
That's how you started out,
I
selling
was
men's clothes.
selling St. Laurent's and Givenchy's
Wow.
while I was going through college.
Nice.
Well, that's how you put yourself through school?
It was a big part of it, yeah. I stayed
Cool.
there for a year.
You
Then
still say part of it, I see.
yeah, pa, bear, car, watch. I got to make
I
sure
was
you
going to
keep
say
your
that's
English.
hardcore, like, you know, all
Yeah,
your, all your
You don't lose it. Remember, they landed in Plymouth Rock. So this is the King's English.
Uh-huh.
Whatever's being spoken down here is a derivative of that.
Well, I think,
It's true. There's a lot of similarities.
well, the French came here, didn't they? The French and Spanish came here.
Not that we like them any more than the British.
Well, I don't know about that, don't we?
Well, I've been to France and I've been to Great Britain. I haven't been to Spain, so
I've been to all of them.
really.
What were you doing in all of them? Were you cooking?
Yeah, I worked at a restaurant in England for 6 months.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did
that
they
was
make
fun.
good food?
Well, it was a Michelin star restaurant, actually.
What kind?
Wow.
Of food.
It was just, kind of traditional French-inspired
Okay.
fine dining. You could get like a 20 million course meal. And the chef I had idolized Gordon Ramsay. So
Oh.
you can
Oh, he's
imagine
hilarious.
you can imagine how he was
Abusive.
very, very.
I didn't realize that people in the industry would idolize him. I thought he was just like an
he
entertainer.
no. Well, in England is where he started, and he was a big name chef there before he came here.
But
So-
people, we've had, we've talked on to other people who work in kitchens, and I've heard that people aren't really like that in kitchens.
He was.
But is that atypical? I'm kidding.
It just depends where you're at. I think if you go to Europe, chefs are more that old school style, really big assholes.
Yeah. Is there a lot of
People
drinking
in-
and drug taking?
Not when I was in England. Here, yes.
There is, yes, presently. In general, if you work in a kitchen, there's a lot of booze and
I
drugs.
think people who are in the culinary field are probably some of the most abusive to their bodies of any field.
But not at Johnson and Wales.
Oh God, yes.
No.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Try to cover
When-
him, you know?
No.
Well,
I mean,
pick
it was
that
everywhere.
What is it about?
It's
something about the
everywhere.
stress of working in a kitchen, I suppose, that makes you.
I don't know.
It's
I
the
think
heat.
Yeah,
The heat.
maybe. Some of it's
Oh,
just
God.
their
Grease and the
personality.
heat, man, gets you all fired up.
I don't know. I don't really know what is. Why do so many chefs smoke? I don't know. You know, they want their food to taste good, and then they all smoke, and it ruins their sense of taste. So
Does it really?
Totally ruins sense of taste and smell. Think of smokers; they have a horrible sense of smell, and then
And yet
they end up
most-
over salting their food quite a bit.
And
Yeah.
most chefs are smokers, though.
Not most, but a lot.
A lot.
I think it's gone down in recent years.
How many people in medical school smoke now?
Not many.
Do any doctors, medical students still
I
smoke?
barely ever see people outside smoking.
Yeah, that must be an incredible peer
It's
pressure,
gone
wouldn't you
down.
think?
It's gone down incredibly.
Are you a smoker, Darlene?
Nope.
Did you ever?
Never have.
How come you never smoke?
Never had an interest. Don't like the smell.
It's gross.
What about weed?
Nope. Never did that either.
Nothing.
I'm Crime Stoppers. I haven't done anything.
Well, you're Crime Stoppers now, but when you were younger, did you grow up
I
here?
was a baby Crime Stoppers.
Did you grow up in New Orleans?
Yes, I did.
So you were born and bred here, like
Born
Olga's
and
from
bred.
here too, right?
Yeah, I speak
San
New
Francisco
Orleans.
originally.
Oh God, I was
I'm
wrong
here
about that.
12, 13 years.
Oh, I thought you were from here. Ah, well, I was
I've
wrong
been
about
here
that.
a long
yeah, you go.
time.
And Darlene, what high school did you
grown
go
on.
to then?
John F. Kennedy. It doesn't exist anymore. After Katrina.
Wow.
Really? So you're drinking water and punch?
Yes.
I don't think
Stay
she stops for
hydrated.
punch, to be honest
Really, I
with you.
just tasted. Yeah, I'm on the water jug.
Yeah. So Darlene, well, let's get on to Crime Stoppers in a minute because I've got this. I heard this amazing song that I believe that Crime Stoppers is using music to stop crime now,
Right.
which is what I want to talk to you a minute about. But first of all, let's actually hear a song.
Okay,
Olga, I see you've got this little tiny ukulele.
I do.
Last time you came here, and most blues people don't play the ukulele, I wouldn't think, do they?
No, I don't know.
Doesn't
I-
seem like a blues type.
I think you know.
I just, it was such an accident. I learned how to, play it on set because you're sitting on set for hours, and so there's plenty of time to do things, and it was a little bit more portable than
Yeah.
a guitar. And
So what
So-
set were you on exactly?
the new Planet of the Apes
Oh, cool.
film.
They really
Yeah.
transformed downtown for that. It was
Big.
crazy.
Yeah, I was working on that set, and then
Yeah.
out at the old Six Flags, they built an ape
Yeah.
village in
Awesome.
there, and it took
Fun.
them like 5 months to build that set, and I think 5 months to build the one that was downtown.
Yeah.
People got very pissed off at these Planet of the Apes people downtown. I kept on
Did
seeing
they?
posts on
Closed.
Twitter and Facebook.
Probably because
basically,
it was closed, because the streets
Yeah,
were
well, the
closed.
streets were closed, and
Yeah,
they're
6
like,
weeks.
And they put
Yeah.
ivy on their doors and stuff.
they did.
Yeah,
So
it
what?
looked really different.
Yeah.
What's the
Sure.
movie like, actually?
I can't really, I can't
You're-
really reveal
you're not
that
allowed to
because
tell
I
us.
had to sign a,
Oh, no one listens to this
non-disclosure.
stupid show.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
worry.
Well, basically, it's a continuation. If you saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes, then this is a continuation. It's basically like I think about 10 years later, and the humans, they go at war with the apes basically, and so I was basically one of the apes. I was one of the stand-in apes for actually several of the apes, for one of the lead male apes and
you-
one of the lead
You
female
were a
apes.
stand-in ape.
I was a stand-in ape.
I hope you haven't written that on your resume.
And I
exactly
also
like
had to
that.
stand
We
in
have
for
to
a
reword
horse.
that.
Yeah, for
you
a
stood in for a
famous
horse?
Frisian horse. Yeah,
How
that
do
was
you
actually
stand in
sort
for
of.
a horse?
I had to be on a ladder in the middle of downtown
Okay.
for like a really long time, and they got the 3D cameras out, and everybody knew my name. Trust me.
Wow.
They all knew who I was.
So this whole thing is 3D, Planet of the Apes, the movie. Okay.
Cool.
3D.
So that's interesting in itself. They
And
shoot
motion
that with a whole-
capture, so no one's wearing monkey suits. It's all in the mocap suits, and they have little points.
Mocap. Make a note of that. We have to be able to say that in
and then it
future
all
shows.
gets added
Mocap
in
suit.
the animation
Oh, I was
part.
wondering
and
they
in
must be s-
editing.
I thought they
I learned
must
a
be
lot
so
about
high.
3D filming and about mocap on this.
Mocap.
Which is
I've
great.
never heard of mocap.
Which is what I wanted to.
Is that
Motion
MEAUX? Thing
Motion
shot
capture.
here?
Motion capture.
Motion capture.
You know about? Because you're in the film business too,
I'm in the
Lena.
film business too.
Well, we got a lot to get onto
So I
here.
have another adopted daughter right over here.
Yeah.
Great.
You know, she's trying to do her own movie.
I'm going
Yeah.
to talk to her
I know
later
a
about it.
banker.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we're going to okay, so here's the order of events.
See?
Song,
Okay.
Crime Stoppers song,
Okay.
Anam Cara movie, and then how Lenny's going to help you get it
Okay.
made.
So we'll probably
You
only
got
have,
that down?
Sounds
time
great.
for one
Okay,
song.
all right.
Is that right?
What's that?
Only have time for one song, you think?
No, we might be able to fit a couple in. Who knows? There's no reason that says we couldn't stay here all night, except for Hugo kicking us out.
But he serves drinks all night.
Yeah, we can stay here until they close.
As long as we have
Hey,
the
do we,
orange stuff.
Chris? Do we have to move this other mic to capture the uke? Haley?
If you want.
Well, hey, that's the kind of tech direction I like. Okay, we'll move. Okay. All right. Okay, now we're going.
Okay, so I thought I'd do one of the songs that's going to be in the movie, and so I came up with a ukulele rendition of it.
Okay.
Birds of sorrow fly over my head, but I won't let them nest in my bed. Well, I can't help but wonder in my insecurities. It's a challenge every day. Sometimes it takes some authority. And what I'm worried about now, say what's preying on my mind. All these petty competitions, yeah, bring me down time to time. Hey, birds of sorrow, they fly over my head. They should flying over my head. I won't let them nest in my bed. No, I won't. Yeah. You can't compare apples to oranges. Just like you can't tell if what a heart is feeling is fake. And you can't avoid the people who don't wish you well. Just know it ain't about you now, it's their own emotional say. And I say, now birds of sorrow may fly all over my head. They should fly over my head, and I won't let them nest in my bed. I can't stop the birds from flying, and I can't stop a person's lying. I can't control where they go or what they do. Only got myself to mind, and take my own hand when I'm crying. I'll keep those birds from coming on through. See, yeah, just keep them from coming on through. You know, now. I say, birds of sorrow fly over my head. They sure do now. But I won't let them nest in my bed. And the tide is high, but I'm holding on. I'm gonna be your number one. And I'm not the kind of girl who gives up just like that. I know every girl wants you to be her man, but I'm gonna wait till it's my turn. I'm not the kind of girl who gives up just like that. Oh no, the tide is high, but I'm holding on. I'm gonna be your number one. Number one, yeah, number one.
All right. Okay. That's got a total radio hit song feel written all over it
Yeah,
to
well,
me.
if you heard the actual version that I recorded, it's a little different than that, but it does have that flying thing, and it's gonna be like the middle portion of the song where like everything just goes to hell. Like there's just the
Craziness. Like
Yeah.
in a good way, in a positive pop way, or in a sort of discordant way?
No, this is a Ben-Hur in 12 minutes.
Okay.
In essence.
So you're not kidding about
it's-
that. It
No,
really
it's
is.
it's like it's a story. It's very truthful. It's honest, and of course there'll be some embellishments and that sort of thing. But it's the journey of finding yourself and the process of getting there, and how you go through sometimes the pit of despair in order to come out on the other end. And so that's really what it is. And the visuals will kind of go, music will play, but the visuals will be the storyline. And there's not really going to be any dialogue. There might be a little bit of a few words here to help with transitions and that sort of thing. There's probably at least already 50 people involved in this project, like all film industry friends, and
Are
just keeps growing.
Are
Like
these
more and
all
more people are
Are these all people
jumping
you
in.
met making
Yeah,
real
like making
big time
movies,
movies, and so all these big time people are going to help you
Yeah,
make
so
this.
it's all like professional. They're all professionals.
So this is going to be a pretty
So-
seriously good movie. Then
It's gonna
you've
be
pulled in all sorts
seriously
of great
good.
people.
Yeah, it's going to
Okay.
be seriously good. It's no farting
right.
around.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about how we're going to get that made in a minute. So let's
Okay.
come back to that. But I promised that I wanted to talk to Darlene about using music to fight crime.
Yes, I actually want to hear this.
No, this is interesting because I see this whole thing that you somehow managed to convince Dr. John to get involved
cool.
with your crime fighting
Right.
program. Tell us the story. What is going on?
Well, I really want to thank the writer Donnie Markowitz and Carl Gustafson, who actually wrote a song called "Another Murder in New Orleans," and they asked Bobby Rush and Dr. John recorded the song. And because of the nature of the lyrics and what the song was intended to discuss, they asked if they could join with Crime Stoppers. And of course, they were kind enough to allow us to have a download option where we're going to get a little percentage of what the download is of this newly released song. But also, they wanted to be at a function where we can kind of premiere it. So we have a function on September 11th. The idea was to take it bigger than that. It was to really involve local artists so that everybody stands together, united about what we're seeing happening in the community. And when you listen to the lyrics, it really is a personal feeling about what they've expressed in their or felt in their lifetime and experienced. And it's also everybody realizing we all have a part to play. So that's really what their message is, that musicians, all of us have a part to play to stop the violence.
So if we're listening to this, if anyone's listening to this before September the 11th, which is exactly, I don't even know, what day of the week is that?
Next Wednesday.
That's Wednesday. Before Wednesday, September the 11th, that's open to the public, and you can just wander along there,
Right.
and
You
Dr.
pay a
John's
ticket to come
playing.
in, yes.
You got to pay to get. Well, it's a fundraiser for
Right,
the Crime
it's
Stoppers.
$50. It's really unbelievable the price. You get food and drinks, and you get to see Bobby Rush, Dr. John. We actually have
Bobby
Shalea,
Rush.
who's a
She's
brand
cool.
new artist that a lot of people have heard. She has something out right now with Stevie Wonder. We also now have Glenn David Andrews coming and playing, James Andrews, David Baptiste and his sons, Deacon John, Sun Pie. Rockin' Gypsy's supposed to be coming by, Charmaine Neville. So
Wow.
for $50,
Where is this?
unbelievable.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, Generations Hall, 7 to
Oh.
10 at Generations Hall.
Cool.
On Wednesday, September the 11th.
Right.
And Dr. John is playing, and
Yep.
and the whole
Bobby-
gang will be there. All these
Is
incredible
Bobby bringing
musicians.
the big booty girls?
booty.
He does have dancers, I think, coming. I've
Okay,
met one lady.
then that's worth the $50 right
I've
there.
met one lady.
Love just to see that. He does
But
an amazing show.
I've gotten to know Bobby, and for 80 years old, he looks like he's 60, if that. What a nice man. Really, really have enjoyed meeting him. And he's
So
been
you've
with
been
all
doing
the
this
legends.
for 18 years. You've been fighting crime in New Orleans. Is this the first time you've worked with artists, or you must have done this before?
This is the first time that I've worked with legendary artists, absolutely. This has been
Mostly
a
just
true
been-
new experience for us. It's all been mostly local bands that would come up and play. And well, I will say all of these guys are donating their time, to do this for us. So it really, really has touched my heart.
So this is Donnie Markowitz, who's a famous songwriter, actually.
Very famous songwriter. When I met him, he goes, "You know that movie Dirty Dancing?" I'm like, "Oh, everybody knew that movie. I wrote the the title song for that." I said, "Seriously? You just had to add Patrick Swayze to that, and everybody else knew who it was." A very talented man.
So he just moved to New Orleans a year or so ago.
He moved here. He is now, we're calling him a native New Orleanian, but he's from New York, and very kind person. And
Very
his family
talented
all
guy,
here. He's
yeah.
got babies and everything here. Yeah.
So he wrote the song with Dr. John or by himself, with someone else.
With another gentleman, Carl, and then he asked. I don't know how they got Bobby and Dr. John to be the to the musicians on this, but they do a great job. What can you say, Dr.
Okay.
John?
So what do you do with the money?
We use it for our program cost. We have a lot of youth programs. We've really been tried to be more proactive, so we do a lot of youth leadership,
Right.
youth safe school programs, and that's where the bulk of this money is going to go.
That's awesome.
So that's why we appreciate everybody that comes out, because it's going
Yeah.
to a good cause.
And do you work with the police?
We're actually not the police department. That's the
No,
big.
you're separate from the police.
We are
department.
separate from the.
So what's
we
your
have
relationship?
liaisons. We have what we do is we pass our information on to the police. So we have liaisons with the police, but they don't control any of our fundraising. They do not control any of the payouts of rewards. Everybody knows we pay out rewards, and we're that like voice for the community. So people don't get that we're actually separate and apart, but we're there to play that function for them.
Who's this other guy that I see on TV, Raphael Goyeneche?
Goyeneche.
Is he with you, or is he with yet
No,
another organization?
He's just a friend. No, yeah, he's a different organization. He's with the Metropolitan Crime Commission.
That's nothing to do with the city either.
No.
So these are all independent
separate
crime-fighting organizations.
Yep.
So what's your impression of the police force now? Is it true that there are hardly any cops left, that they're firing them all?
Well, I won't say that they're firing. I think we certainly need more police officers. I think there's lots of issues with funding and resources. I think that's why what we do is so important, because you'll never have enough police officers, but right now I think we certainly see that we need more.
Are you an
and they're
independent
stretched.
voice, Darlene, or do you have to be polite about what you say about, or are you completely independent and you don't care what you say?
Well, no, I do care what I say. I am independent, but certainly, no, I don't.
I mean, if I asked you if everyone hates a police chief in the police force, could you tell me the truth about that? Or would you have to be politic and say, oh, I'm sure everybody loves it?
I would just say that I've heard good and bad on both sides, so it's whatever people want to think. I think the police have done a good job, though. You've seen a lot of changes recently.
Have
a
we?
lot of corrections.
Really?
Yes, I think
I've
so.
heard that there's a terrible morale problem in the police force, and that everyone, all the men and women in the police force have no respect for the chief, and that's why everything's so fucked up. Is there any truth to that at all?
No comment. I'll just talk about Crime Stoppers.
Okay. I just thought it'd be interesting to get, after a couple of drinks. Have you drank any of that cocktail?
No.
We've only been drinking water. That's where we've gone wrong here. I just wondered if no one will go on the record or even off the record. Maybe we'll turn the mics off and then we'll turn them back on again. Do you think?
I've heard the same. I mean, what
You've heard, Leah? You've heard the same thing? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we're all, I know a lot of people who have spoke with police officers who are currently or used to be on the force, and
But it's troubling.
they feel. I mean, I think it's obvious there's trouble to all of us who live here.
Well, nobody seems to know why. Nobody seems to know why there's a huge crime rate in New Orleans. I mean, no one can ever tell you definitively why we have the same number of people that other cities have, and yet we have.
It's not just the crime; it's also the response from the police force. And I've been very
hours.
frustrated by it. I just moved in an area that was extremely ridden with theft and robbed. I had two friends who got robbed while they were home, and the police wouldn't show up for hours.
Yeah.
I
Do
mean,
you have
there
a
were-
gun? You should get a gun.
Do you have a
thought-
gun?
Well,
Yes,
no,
of
because
course
I'll
I
end
do.
up like Merritt Landry, which is also in my neighborhood.
Well, you need to train. And,
It doesn't matter. He shot I don't know if you heard the story, but he shot a
haven't,
kid
actually.
that jumped over his 8-foot security fence, and now he's going to trial for second-degree murder for shooting the kid at 2 a.m, who is a known thief. And
Well, that's- yeah,
now
I mean,
they've
he's
charged
got-
him with attempted second-degree murder. It's really messed up. It was because it was right after that Florida case, and so they're trying to throw race into it, and that really has nothing to do with it.
No.
Nor did he know he was 14. It was 2 a.m, and he was near his
He was
door.
on his property.
Yeah. So, now you can't even just get a gun because there's lawsuits happening against people who protect themselves.
Well,
So
he's on trial. He
Yeah.
should be on trial. He just shouldn't be convicted.
He won't be
is what-
convicted.
he's not
for it.
convicted.
He won't be
He's not
convicted for it.
convicted, but
Darlene's not saying anything.
he got they charged him with it. I'm not sure if the DA approved it yet or not. They were taking forever to get through that.
So that
Well, I
makes
mean, the
you-
other option too is is it your life or is it you're gonna
Well, he had a
worry
pregnant
about,
he had a pregnant wife
exactly.
and a child
He's
inside.
he'll be acquitted.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I sure hope so.
absolutely. I mean, Louisiana just recently strengthened their gun laws here and to
I know.
protect gun owners here, and so
There's been a lot
if
of
he's in his
hubbub about
property
it.
and try to get into his house and that sort
Well,
of thing. It'd be different if it was, like,
some
in a
people are
restaurant or something.
arguing that because it was his yard, it wasn't his property.
Oh
and
no, he's paying
distance.
taxes on that. It's his property.
That's how I feel. See, that's how I feel, but
know.
not everyone does.
Isn't
Well,
your
everyone's
property?
can have an
Isn't
opinion,
your
but-
property the border of your property that you
Yeah.
own. It's not just your house.
I
right?
think
Yeah.
the
Or is
lines
it?
are kind
Yes.
of
And your
blurred
car.
in the
Your
law.
car's
And your car.
your car?
Is an
Yeah.
extension of your property.
Darlene probably knows the answer to this. Can you shoot somebody in your
I
backyard?
think we have an attorney here. He may know the answers.
No, my wife's an attorney.
She probably
Call
knows
her
the
up.
answer. Should
Phone
we
a
text her?
friend.
Graham's an
Darlene,
attorney.
do you have a gun?
Do you want to take a
Darlene?
lifeline on that one, or do we do
Oh,
the phone call or the text?
No, I got a
Darlene.
daughter who's an attorney.
You do? Well, call them both. That's it.
Well,
Darlene,
she
do you,
doesn't-
do you have a gun?
Am I personally a gun owner? Yes, I have a gun.
Do you have it here on you?
No, I do not have it on me.
Olga, do you have your gun on you?
No, because I
What a
don't want to concealed carry.
You don't have a
No.
concealed license.
No, and you don't have to own a gun in your home, and
Right.
I can drive it legally to and from the range without it. And I haven't decided if I want to be on record by owning a gun. Like, I'm not really
Right.
sure if I want that. Like, whose business is it really? I have it in the event that power goes out, looters come out,
Yeah.
and it's me and my mom at home. And
Right.
if they're going to come in,
You could always shoot her. That would be a great excuse. I wish I'd thought of that.
we actually
No,
get
you do that
along
for
now, so
mother-in-laws,
you know.
not mothers.
Yeah.
Mother-in-laws.
That phase is
Mother-in-law.
past.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Mother-in-laws, exactly. Yeah.
I will say I've contemplated buying a gun for the first time in my life.
Yeah,
I never
and-
really considered myself someone that was a huge. I don't know that I really had an opinion on guns, but for the first time I'm
It's-
contemplating.
You don't look at it as a victim thing. Look at it as
No,
like
I
a
don't. It's
self-empowerment
self-defense.
thing, you know?
I just bought a baseball bat.
For self-defense?
Yeah.
Well, you might as well take up baseball
It's next
now.
to my bed. I know.
Go to the
guy
range.
asked me why I was buying it.
Go to the range with a bat.
Gotta be
Can
fun.
anyone see what the time is on that clock? I can't read a thing
I
there.
can tell you the time. It's
4:45.
Yeah.
Is it really? Oh my God, things are getting bad here. We've got to move on. We've got to talk about the movie and how we're going.
Yeah, that was a little dire
Andrew,
anyway.
I've got to make you play a song. Now.
I mean,
You have
I'll
to.
be back next week. It doesn't matter to me.
Don't you think we need to? We can go 5 minutes over. Big deal. Come on, grab
Lot
the
of
guitar.
pressure. Is that
what you want right now?
Yeah, come on. Don't you think we do?
Yeah.
We've missed Andrew here
Well, we heard
so much.
Olga.
Here.
It's the
Right, and we
Yeah.
started
Challenge
5
is
minutes
nothing.
late, so
We did start late. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, we'll get on to that. Look at this beautiful looking guitar. What is this called?
It's a dobro.
This is a dobro. Now, you've never brought this here before, I don't
No,
think.
I haven't.
Is
I
it
don't know. It's
you?
just in the car. No, it's not. I don't know why I have this. Because I was at my apartment and the other guitars are at the rehearsal space. So the best idea was to bring this one.
Okay.
This is a song on the EP, which you probably don't have. It's called "Hold Me, Babe." Don't worry about the title. I'm tired of holding old memories. Babe, I wanna hold on to you. 'Cause when the night blows cold, that old memory to hold, it don't keep me as warm as you do. And I'm sure that you've got the same story about a love you can't seem to cut loose. Yeah, babe, I know the pain, and it don't go away. So hold me, babe, and I'll hold on to you. And I'll hold out for dear love. We'll hold on for dear life. 'Cause this dear life is cruel. So hold me, babe, and I'll hold on to you. Nobody is as sure as they're pretending. I can't dance, I just shuffle my shoes. But I know it'd make you smile if we went dancing for a while. So hold me, babe, and I'll hold on to you. And I'll hold out for dear love. And we'll hold on for dear life. But this dear life is cruel. So hold me, babe, and I'll hold on to you. Hold on to me, babe, and I'll hold on to you.
Okay, welcome back to the
That was
United
beautiful.
States, Andrew Duhon.
This is
We have some talented musicians.
Thank God we've missed you.
Thank you. No,
And you even
miss
get a
guys.
drink with that as well.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, let's play another one.
Come on. Okay, so
I have a quick question.
yes, Leah.
Do either of you play around town?
We both do.
Okay, just under your name or your band? Okay, so I don't know. What's your last name?
Duhon. D-U-H-O-n.
Okay.
And Olga doesn't even have a last name.
Olga, do you
Nope.
just play as Olga?
That's-
I do. Yeah.
Do you guys have
trademarked
any
and everything.
regular places you go?
I'm usually just like, because I'm so busy in film now. It's like what I do now. So
What do you call? You're like a producer or a director?
yeah,
or-
I produce, I write, I direct, I also act and do music for it.
Stand in for a horse?
I stand in for horses. That's actually, I love being a stand-in because I learn about camera with that, and I have just learned incredible stuff being able to do that for like Quentin and for I've been able to work with like
Do you
Academy
have
Award-winning
Quentin
people.
Tarantino's phone number?
Email?
Email. So we couldn't call him up.
No, he doesn't actually have a phone. He
Oh,
doesn't have a
that's
cell
brilliant.
phone. He
He
doesn't,
doesn't have a
do
phone.
phones.
Smart man.
Actually, he is smart. I'm like starting to like hate mine.
It's obvious he's a smart
I never have reception. The battery's dead. I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't need it.
Well, if you're Quentin Tarantino, you don't need it because you've got people working for you who can take your phone calls, I suppose. But I don't
That's
have anyone to
true.
take my calls.
Fine.
Darlene, do you have a staff at your place?
Not enough.
You have Facebook. You can always.
Your Facebook do messages. Oh, I could just
No.
message Quentin on Facebook then. So do
Yeah,
you know
he
what
doesn't really
Lenny
do that
does? Lenny's one of Lenny's jobs is he works in attracting people to come to New Orleans.
Saw that.
That's like that magazine.
Yeah.
To come to New Orleans and to spend money.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
done. We've been involved with about 135 movies. The first one we did was the movie Ray, and the second movie we did was Mr. 3000. I was just on the phone a little minute ago with Tim Bourne, who went on to do Blindside, executive producer of Blindside. We just did Black and White, and Endgame Entertainment's in town right now. They're doing a movie called Selfless, and I have to do a selfish plug. My son, who's also in the business, produced, directed, wrote, acted, and finished a movie last year, and it's in the New Orleans Film Festival.
Cool.
Is it a shorter feature?
It's a feature.
What's that called?
It's called Father Like Son. I'm not a...
Any
Wait a minute.
Does he play hockey?
Do you know Declan Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's the writer and DP for my film. So we're actually
Okay.
storyboarding and doing it together.
you guys are
It's
like
our
related.
whole-
You're like family.
It's
This
like
is
his
an
whole crew and my
Yeah.
whole crew,
All
and
started with
yeah.
You probably met my son, Max, so he's got
I
his
don't think
show.
I have,
will
but I
be-
know about the movie because
Yeah.
Declan told me about it.
Yeah,
That's
what he
good.
did was introduce all of the locals that are his peer group. He's 25, and they all contributed for free their lives for 2 weeks. He treated them like hell. He worked them 20-hour days. He produced about an hour-and-a-half movie. He's had, Swell Tones, Blake on it. Kevin Costa was involved in screening and reviewing it. LL Cool J, Robert De Niro. So he's going to be
See, all these things sound so easy. How does he get to hook in Kevin Costner, LL Cool J, and Robert
Well,
De Niro?
he works in the movie industry, and his traditional role is to work with and supervise the attachments, the above line. So he's been everybody from Zac Efron to.
So he's like a personal assistant, you mean? Or, okay.
Yeah. He picks him up, makes sure nothing happens, gets him there. He did a thing with Jim Caviezel, who continued to forget his lines. He was in a movie called When the Team Stood Tall. They just
Oh
left.
yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah, that wasn't one of his more attractive jobs, but his movie will be premiering on the 11th, which is a Friday in October, and they gave him the big show up at Britannia.
Cool. What's it
Oh,
called?
good.
It's called
Great.
Father Like Son.
That's
so
right.
Father like son.
jam it, everybody come out.
Okay.
He's
Cool.
got his little entourage, and he's one of those people that are addicted to it, like musicians are to music. And,
So when you say you worked on Ray, or you made Ray, and you made these other movies, what do you actually do?
well, the state did a great job passing a credit program.
Yeah.
But communicating that to the producers or creating credibility out in LA wasn't there. They're government workers, and they modify and work and protect the program and the integrity, but they don't press the flesh and help connect the dots. So when we started, my affiliate is First Bank and Trust. We became the bank for the deposits, and then that gave us an entree into helping them sell the credits, and that attracted completion bond companies like Film Finance. So we do all the completion bonds. And then we had to recruit payroll and accounting companies, and then we recruited a company called Photochem. It's either Deluxe or Photochem.
Okay, I'm getting a little lost now. What do you actually do?
Bring
Do
all
you
the
answer the
pieces-
phone, or do you go to LA and shake hands with people, or do you have meetings?
Connector,
Or what do
brings
you
all the
actually
pieces
do?
together.
You do it
we
all.
have-
Part of
we
What,
have-
what do
business
you
is
personally
to-
do all day?
I run an investment firm, and I also run a film business, tax credit business.
But what are you doing? I mean,
Make-
do you like take money off people and invest it, or
Well,
what is it?
So, as an example, Big and Rich, the musician, came to town through Clear Channel. The director of Clear Channel is a friend of mine, and he wanted to do a music video. He wrote a movie called The Hole in what's the singer? Merle Haggard.
Merle
and,
Haggard. Okay.
And Willie,
Well, you must be like psychic.
Oh,
How
yeah,
would you know
no.
if you say the singer and you say Merle Haggard?
because she was there.
Okay.
That's Rebecca Conwell. She's a big fan of you and Merle and so he had
got a
all
fist
of
bump.
these fabulous singers. We put them into the Blue Nile, and I
Which
helped
is a
organize.
club on Frenchman Street.
That's right.
Yes.
They were fabulous. They were wonderful, and that was, exactly what Willie Nelson wanted. So here in the room is John Big and Rich, Merle Haggard, John
I like how you
Anderson.
say Merle Haggard.
Yeah.
Merle
Willie
Nelson.
Nelson.
And we got them locked in just like where we are right now. And we did a
And you were
music
there
video.
for that?
Yeah, we helped coordinate, produce
That's
the
awesome.
music video. And
So that's called a producer, right? You're a producer then.
In a way.
well, I have my
Olga, what is he? Tell us.
Yeah.
I would say more of the executive producer position.
I have a lot of credits,
Yeah.
and my sister-in-law is Patricia Clarkson, who has a lot of credits.
Okay, so that you're married to her sister, or
I
her?
am married
okay.
to her older sister, so I like to give her a dig because I have no talent at all, but I have more credits than she has in the movie industry, which I'm sure.
Well, your talent is in a different area, which
yeah.
so the movie wouldn't be able to be made without your talent and contribution. This is what I love about
Yeah.
making movies is that
Yeah.
it's a very collaborative thing.
Yeah.
You cannot do a movie by yourself. You have like a whole group of people, and people maybe go to the movies and they think, oh, well, it's just about this actor, and oh my gosh, the actor. The actors wouldn't be there at all, and they wouldn't look as good as they do, and they wouldn't be saying the lines that they say, and they wouldn't, have any of this at all without like a crew, depending on the size. I know, like on Apes, it was like several hundred people,
Yeah.
hundreds of people
Right.
that are involved from
And the
everything.
union, which started with 45 people when I got involved, they now have 1,700 members. They were making $22,000 a year on average. They now make over $82,000 a year.
Which union is this?
IATSE,
Yeah.
they're
Which
the
is
ones,
the-
grips, lighting,
Oh, okay,
film.
that's the crew
Yeah.
people.
Right.
Okay.
But that's fabulous. That's why the industry was created. It gives, and my passion is to make sure no one from California comes here to work again, now that you're Louisianian, and that everybody on the set, above and below the line, is somebody from Louisiana.
And above
That-
the line is actors, and someone below the
Yeah,
line is
the
crew.
producer,
Okay,
executive.
so now let's get down to being some serious conversation here. Now
Yeah.
that we've got all that out of the way, can you actually help Olga make a movie? Can you rustle up some money for her
That's it.
to get her off Indiegogo? Because really,
Put 'em on the
Well,
spot.
how could I say no to that?
so you can say yes to that.
I
Olga,
can't-
just
We just
remember
put 'em on the
10%. 10% to happy hour, I think. But, no, can you
Yeah,
really
Yeah,
seriously?
we help her set up a budget. We help make sure she has the right crews. We help make sure she gets the right locations.
Yeah, but she can do all that for herself. Can you get her the
We have
money?
all of
That's what
that.
you can't do. Can you get the money to make these things?
We can introduce her to people who have money,
Okay.
And
Now we're
that's-
getting somewhere.
and that's part
Can
of the
you
umbrella.
introduce all of us to people who've got
relationship
money?
building.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You have Crime Stoppers.
And the
I've
Gold Ring
sent
Center
some-
for Culinary Medicine.
I've actually sent some checks to
And
Crime
happy hour.
Stoppers.
You
Yes.
have.
Yes, and
You're the
I,
nicest guy in the world. if
Why
you-
don't we just throw
Santa
a
Claus.
big party to benefit all of us?
Okay.
it's
Who
all
are
about-
these?
No, I
Who are
won't.
these people
I
with
take that
money? Who are they?
I actually have an important meeting on Saturday. I have two producers coming to town, small independent producers, and a very successful Broussard individual who has a flair for interesting things. 'cause he-
Broussard meaning the place.
the
There's a
city.
guy who's made some money in oil or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
he does. And
right.
Instead of buying a building, he's going to put it in a movie. And
God
Risk
love
it.
him.
Wait, like
Yeah.
Broussard's the
Well,
restaurant?
but it's
No, Broussard, the
it's
city.
art and it's
Oh.
creativity and
Yeah.
it's so fulfilling. I love it so much. It's so fulfilling and I love
Yeah.
meeting people and I learn something new every time.
Right.
okay, so
I'm
what
all
does
set.
Olga have to do? How much money do you need to make this thing?
I need 20 grand.
That's not. That's nothing. That's like a. It's like a
Right.
math error.
That's easy.
in these-
That's a
it
math
is-
error. I
isn't
love
it?
that. That's so Louisiana.
That's
of you. That was
nothing.
great.
That's
great.
weekend bar bill for most of my activities.
Yeah, really.
I need to
spent
hang
more-
out with you.
Well,
This is a guy who
well, I
finds
drink
the
at the
money.
Revolution a lot, and they carry my favorite wines.
I do.
Where's the revolution?
That's one of our past guests from Revolution.
Oh, they're
right over there.
fabulous. That's Molly. She's great.
Yeah, we know her from she was been on our
She's
show
the
before.
sommelier,
Yeah,
best sommelier in the country.
she
Wow.
is. She's one of the top 25. Although when I
No,
asked
she's
her,
number one.
number
she's
one.
modest.
There you go.
Wine me.
Wally.
She
Swiss
moved here
wine.
from Chicago.
Good thing I love
so
wine.
I love people who come
Me
from out of
too.
state like I did.
Except California, we hate those people, right?
Well,
Yeah.
only if they're in the movie business.
Okay.
But we love them
Right.
if they bring the wine
And the money.
and the money. We
And
like
money.
A lot of
that.
people.
How do
with-
you get to be number one? Are there competitions for sommelier folks? 'Cause
Weren't
that
you
would
on the
be
show
pretty
that
cool.
Molly was on when she told us?
No.
She denied that. She denied that she was really.
But I wonder if there could be a head-to-head to unequivocally determine the number one
That
sommelier.
could be our party.
That could be pretty
Well,
cool.
we could ask her.
you
She's
know?
sitting right over there. How would you
Taste
figure out
test.
who's the taste test?
I mean, I guess.
Well, Leah, how do they
Volume.
figure out these Michelin star restaurants?
You know, it's all based off of individual opinions. You know,
Is it true? Should we believe it?
Grease palms and whatnot. Just be honest. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, reputation.
I've been to a lot of Michelin star restaurants. I've been to a few restaurants that were named number one restaurant in the world at different times, and I've been at smaller restaurants with no Michelin stars that were better. So
What is
You know,
it-
it's all
what's-
subjective.
What's one of the restaurants that's been named number one restaurant in the world? I've never been to one of those.
well, there's one in Chicago called Alinea.
Anyone been to that here,
the-
Alinea?
I've been there.
No. Yes.
and
What'd you have?
I had so many courses. He does all these. He does molecular gastronomy, so a lot of
That's a good
sense-
song title, Olga.
Molecular
Molecular
gastronomy.
gastronomy.
Might be
yes.
something.
A
Yeah.
lot of
blues.
a lot of science
Make it a
in
blues
with
song.
the food, so you get like different scents coming at you, or you cut into like a pillow and something.
When you say you cut
sorry.
into a pillow,
I'm getting all.
no, when you cut into a pillow, you mean a pillow of
of
food.
scent sometimes. Yeah, it was a while
Really?
ago that but I also went to one in England called the Fat Duck.
There
that-
can't be a number one restaurant in the world in England, surely, can
It
there?
was. That was the best meal probably I've ever had.
Ah,
Yeah.
That's saying something for a chef.
There was a lot of crap in England, don't get me wrong.
That's
but,
right.
But there's a few good restaurants like anywhere.
The Fat Duck.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you have there?
I remember one of the meals that stuck out in my mind was a beetroot gazpacho with mustard ice cream. But they're also one of the people that kind of really made famous.
You lost me on that one.
It was crazy. I don't even really like mustard. That's the thing. It was delicious.
Did you
Was
say
it Grey
Mustard ice
Poupon
cream.
or?
No, it was homemade.
Did you
Homemade
say mustard ice cream?
It was delicious.
That's what I heard.
Oh, it's probably had like that little spice.
it
it
was.
probably had like a spice, like
Well,
like
when you
Mexican
use the
chocolate
mustard,
has that
you
real,
use
that
mustard
spice.
seeds.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes that can work.
No, I used mustard. It was definitely
Really?
mustard. But a lot of what they use is food science. So he worked very closely with a food scientist called Harold McGee, who wrote, if you're into food at all, he wrote a very popular book called On Food and Cooking: The Science and Lore of the Kitchen. He has 2 versions of it. He's a very famous food scientist, and he
Food
learned from
scientist.
him. There's a big role for food scientists. I used to kind of do that when I did this job, actually.
This is a photo of you when you were a research chef.
A research chef, yeah. I use a lot of food science.
Were you ever a actual real chef in a restaurant? Like,
Yeah.
so you did that
not
as well.
Not a head chef, but I've opened a lot of restaurants.
You did?
Yeah.
You look
as
so
part of my
young.
job.
Are you a lot older than you look? or-
I know. I have a pretty extensive resume I'm 30. I have
You're
a
only
big,
30 and you've done all these
I've
things.
done a lot of stuff, but for many years I was working 3 jobs and 3 decent jobs at once. So it really built my resume.
How do you do that? How do you work 3 jobs in the kitchen?
You know, you give a third of yourself to all of them.
And you don't sleep.
You don't sleep. I wasn't. Well, I did restaurants growing up and through school and some after, but once I got out, I started going more in education and research and development. So it wasn't restaurant hours. So I was more able to do that.
Is it a
I
better
farmed.
life? You were a farmer?
I farmed. Yeah, I did. I farmed. So I was teaching at Johnson & Wales. I was farming, and I was working for a nonprofit to make school food healthier.
What were you
so-
farming?
Everything. We had a 5-acre farm. I was the assistant farm manager. We had vegetables. We did a CSA, and then we had 400 chickens for eggs.
What's a CSA?
Community supported agriculture. It's when people sign up for a weekly share of seasonal produce, and you don't know what's
like
coming.
a co-op.
Yeah, it's kind of like what
Yeah.
Hollygrove does with their weekly box.
Right, their $25
Yeah.
box of
But usually
vegetables.
with CSAs, you have to sign up for the whole season.
So now you're teaching these kids at medical school something about food, so that people who graduate and become a doctor actually know something about. When you go to the doctor and they say you need to fix your diet up,
Yeah.
they actually can know what they're talking about thanks to you.
Exactly. They don't
So
just.
you teaching them to cook?
Yeah, it's hands-on cooking classes. They're actually taking 8 3-hour cooking classes with me. So they're getting 24 hours of nutrition and culinary education.
And so are any of them naturally good cooks? Because that would be a pretty good catch
Some of
for
them.
anyone listening.
Hell yeah.
Single man or woman looking
That's
for a
right.
doctor and chef.
Yeah, well, it's kind of off limits for me, but
You can't date any of them?
that would be awkward. I had to just say,
Have you
don't,
got your
don't-
aa on any
don't
of them?
shit where you work.
I was
I have
about
a
to
son.
say
Oh, that's a
that.
good rule. That's a
Shit
good
where
rule
you
in the
eat
kitchen.
yeah,
It's true. So,
that's what they say.
Have you got your eye on any of these young guys, though, for when they graduate? Because once they graduate, you can go date them, right?
yeah, no, it's a professional relationship mostly, so.
Mostly.
Mostly.
I'm
Well,
glad.
you
Heard
know,
that.
they're good looking. I won't deny it. There's some good looking medical students.
I have a son that's a doctor.
Hey, bring him
Is he
on.
single?
Yes.
My
And
mom
he loves to cook.
I'll tell you, my mom was really excited when she learned I was going to teach at a medical school.
I would
She said,
think so,
oh,
too.
you can marry a doctor.
Lenny, if I
now."
could hook you up with Olga and get her the money for
And
the
then hook her
film
up with my
and
son.
hook her
Yeah.
hook Leah up with your son,
Is he
this would be
cute?
the biggest day ever.
And
And
we'll
then
have a
I'm gonna
yearly
stop
barbecue
crying.
to remember.
And we're going to stop. If you could stop crying by the
That's my
end of
next job.
we've got another 5 minutes of the show. So if you could stop crying by then,
Yeah.
Darlene, is there a formula to stop crime? If you could do anything and wave a magic wand in the city and actually stop it, is there something you would do?
I think that we really need to be focused on younger children.
Yeah.
Honestly, to me,
Yeah.
I would agree.
below 10 and under,
Oh, really? That young?
I think they need to be able to have lots of resources that's maybe currently not there in their own family units. And I think they need to see a different path.
But what would you physically do to make this happen if you could do anything?
I think certainly the extended services that we're seeing happening with the school system, the morning care, the aftercare. What we don't realize, because we're not in that situation, some of these kids don't eat when they go home.
Yeah.
Some of these kids over the summer don't get maybe one meal a day. They're left alone. I mean, there's no way for kids to have a better outlook and know and learn better things, I think, unless they have that mentor and that resources available. So I think extending that opportunity for young children, and I think some of us who have time to give, older people, I think being a mentor, I know the Silverback Society's done a great job with 8th grade boys, but they need to be able to get outside of their family unit and see other people who do care.
Yeah, there's a fabulous organization in town that meets that need called Son of a Saint. And the creator identifies children at risk and then goes out into the neighborhood, brings them in and teaches them just the most important issues of relationships. How to be on time, how to dress, how to respect women, how to shop, how to eat at a restaurant, how to organize the assignment of the knives, forks, and spoons, the littlest things that we all take for granted. And they probably saved a couple dozen kids, gave
Yeah.
them some inspiration and hope. I think that's a big part of it. It's easy to watch the TV and curse the crime issue, but unless you stop and actively take an active and engaged position to change the life of just one kid and hope it results in 3 or 4 more.
Well, you're talking to the CEO of Crime Stoppers here,
Right, and
so
I'll say one thing that really has always comes to my mind. We do a lot of presentations in schools. We have a Safe School program, and we talk to kids about youth, about different alternatives. We talk about crime trends. We talk about consequences. We talk about being empowered. And the thing that I hear is kids don't feel like they have any power. And I go back to a presentation that I did with very young children. I want to say the little boy who came up to me might have been in 1st or 2nd grade. And we were talking about bullying and just respecting ourselves and respecting others. And he came up to me after the presentation, brave enough to come in front of about 400 other students and tap me on the shoulder or the waist. I said, "What do you need, sweetie?" He goes, what you talked about bullying and what you talked about respecting other people, this morning my mom and grandma, because that's who we live with, insist they had a fight. And it really made me mad. So I wanted to come in today and be mean to somebody else. Now I realize that's bullying. And it just, I was at tears. I was like, you're right. So if you pass on that message, what you learned today. So as adults, we need to be so conscious of what these kids see. But we also need to know that they're good teachers. We give them the opportunity to speak up and lead by example. They will. And that's one thing Crime Stoppers is, like this event that we're having, it's really focusing on the youth.
This
So-
is a
Are you pairing with anyone like Cafe Reconcile or
We have done things with Cafe Reconcile. We actually
Liberty's Kitchen?
We've used actually all three of them
Yeah.
in different events. In the beginning of the year, January, February, March, we do a teen summit
Cool.
where we get a lot of artists and hip hop artists working with us, and we give all of the programs that have resources available an opportunity to be there, so kids get to meet them. And our Safe School program's the same thing. We will join with a lot of different community groups and other organizations just to kind of spread the resource out and just spread the love, I guess you
Makes
could say.
more sense for us all to work together.
Absolutely.
They also understand there are really no bad kids. There are bad environments and
environments,
circumstances and influences and a lack of a hug or a care. And, part of the reason I got involved in coaching and starting all these different programs in Child's Wish is, these are not choices people make because they believe that this is the way they want to live. They get drawn into it. They become victims of it, and it's tough to break those bad cycles.
I have a pit bull, and I can't relate to kids, but I can relate that to my pit bull. It's how they're brought up. They're given this bad rap, but it's really about the environment they're put in.
Darlene, let me ask you perhaps a stupid question, but how many kids are we talking about that we have to intercede with under 10 years old here? Are there thousands, or are there a couple hundred, or how many?
I have no clue if there's thousands, but I can say that if we reach the first 10, 20, 30, I think we're doing a good job. Certainly, if we look at our school systems in the neighborhoods where kids don't have activities in the summer, that's a good place to start. And
You're right.
our
That's
safe-
when a lot of the crime is from them, too, yeah.
Well, and then for us, we do a leadership program, and our kids who are in the leadership program are from 3 different parishes, and they talk about what they're seeing in their own neighborhoods. And even the teens are stepping up. So there's a lot of good kids out there of all ages.
So if you're listening to this before Wednesday, September the 11th, and you want to do something to stop crime in New Orleans, you can spend $50 down at the Generations Hall. At what time are we talking about?
7 to 10.
7 to 10. And if you want to go on Indiegogo and give Olga some money for Anamcara
Film.
Anamcara Film, ANAMCARA Film.com. Although that's going to be obsolete. We don't have to worry about that because
You
Lenny's
can go on there anyway.
Lenny's going to find you the money just in
about
case.
the project and stuff. What's
Yeah.
kind of interesting that no one's really done anything like this before, so we're definitely sort of taking the road less traveled in this project, and everyone that's doing it is volunteering their time. So the money, the budget is really just for stuff that we have to get, some stuff we need to build, and that sort of thing.
Stand
But
in for the horse.
I would love
Kind
to
of
get
stuff.
that horse in the movie. I thought about it. I might get a pony. Yeah.
Every film should have a
Because there
pony
is sort
in
of
it,
a
right?
banquet, Fellini-esque sort of scene, and there's going to be
If
like
you shoot a
jugglers. and-
Shetland from the right angle,
Yeah.
I think you'll
I'll have to
be,
talk to Declan about that. He's got this whole thing mapped
Go
out.
with a unicorn.
Well, we'd have to make.
You
a
gotta
unicorn.
capture one first,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, then we have to maybe raise the budget for
They're
that.
elusive.
You might have to breed one of
They're
those.
elusive, those unicorns.
You guys have come to the end of Happy Hour here today. It's all over.
Why?
Lenny Elsfeld,
Wah, wah,
thank you
wah.
so much for joining me. Leah Saris,
Thank you.
Darlene Costanza,
Thank you.
Olga, just one name.
Uh-huh.
And welcome back to Andrew Duhon,
Good
our
to be
Happy Hour
back,
troubadour. Thank God you're
Yeah.
back home again. That's Happy Hour for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Our show is produced by Graham DePonte. Our associate producer and technical director is Chris Kehoe. Christian Unruh is our music director, and our web designer and link to the real world is Dr. Cliff Brigden. Mitch Foreman wrote the theme that you're currently hearing being played also by him. For Happy Hour, the fabulous audio quality of the show is brought to you in part by PreSonus Audio Electronics. PreSonus makes some of the best audio recording and live sound products around, including Studio One music production software. Lenny's handing out his business card now. Make sure we get one of those. Studio Live digital mixing consoles, Eris Studio monitors, and much more. Thank you, Lenny. You can visit presonus.com for more information. How much money can you actually get us for Happy Hour before I finish reading these credits? No limit. If you'd like to be on our show and be a millionaire as well, drop us a line. Our address is on our website. You can check out our other Happy Hour shows on our website, as well as our other shows. Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti live from Commander's Palace. Mindset with psychiatrist Dr. Nick Pajic, True to the Game with Chris True, and Tammy Nelson Vietnam, or our show about the New Orleans Vietnamese community, and Midnight Menu Plus One with Margot Moss and the Man Who Ate New Orleans, Ray Canada. Keep up with us on Facebook, Twitter, and a bunch of other time-sucking social media where you can find us. We're called It's New Orleans on all of them. If you listen to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or any of the other podcasting equipment out there, thank you for subscribing. Take a moment to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. We're live today, as we usually are, at Casa Borrega. Casa Borrega is on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard at Felicity in Central City, New Orleans. It's a bar, a restaurant, and a live music venue. Check out the awesome food here. Thank you, Lenny. I've got a free, what is this, a bunch of peanuts? It's coffee. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For Mitch Foreman, Cliff Brigden, everyone back at the INO studios, and Andrew Duhon, who's back here, I'm Grant Morris. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on Happy Hour.